Imagine that you were offered a chance to get $2.5 billion and you would only have to work 5 months just to get it. This was the same offer that was made in the show that I'm going to be talking about. It's called Money Heist, and the professor made this introduction to the people he was trying to recruit to pull off this heist to then get that money. And I've seen this show probably about 2 times through now. I'm watching it for the 3rd time. And this is my go-to show, especially when it comes to recommendations. If people ask, oh, what show should I watch? I always say Money Heist every single time. And to give a little background, it is a Spanish drama show. So it's not like a telenovela, but it's got crime, it's got drama, all the above. And so you can either watch it in English, which is dubbed audio, or you can watch it in Spanish with English subtitles. Or if you know Spanish, then you can just watch it in Spanish. So to give a little background on the show, before it came out on Netflix, it was originally aired on Spain's Antena 3 channel. And after the 1st or 2nd season, the views dropped. So they were going to drop the show completely. But then Netflix bought the show, kind of spruced it up a little bit, and gave it the budget to make 3 more seasons in addition to the original 2. Which is also kind of why I like the show. Like, with the history of it, I like shows that were originally going to be dropped, but then they were picked up by somebody else and they kind of made it a little bit better, targeted it to more people, and then it kind of blew up from there. So the plot of the show is it involves a heist. So the heist is the Royal Mint of Spain, which, if you didn't know, that's where the money in Spain is printed. And their goal is to print 2.4 billion euros, which in US dollars is $2.6 billion, and they're going to escape with that money. And their goal of the heist is to buy as much time as they possibly can to print as much money as possible. And in this heist, it lasts about over a week. And basically, you might say, oh, all they're doing is sitting in there printing money. How can this show be interesting? Well, there's a lot more that goes on involved. They go into the heist, they go from the view of the police, they go into the planning of the heist, they give background on the characters, all this and more. It is just very on the edge of your seat kind of show. Like, you don't know what's going to happen next. It's very leaves on a cliffhanger after every episode, and you just binge the whole thing. So to dive into the characters a little bit more, the main 2 characters that are kind of introduced in the beginning is the professor. He planned and recruited everybody for the heist, and he has been planning this for years. And it is just something that he has kind of revolved his whole life around. He is incredibly smart, and he is always 10 steps ahead of the police, and he will take any necessary action to keep the plan on track. And in my presentation, there's a clip of him, and he is doing whatever he can necessary to kind of keep the police away from catching them. And in this scene, he has to make himself look homeless because the police are right outside the van and they know that he is in there. So then he makes himself look all gross. He breaks his nose so that he's bleeding and he looks homeless, and he ends up getting away. And so he does anything. He's not even in the Royal Mint with them. He's doing everything on the outside, keeping the police where he wants them, and he just has everything planned out. He knows exactly what they will do and what will happen. And he even has like plan A, plan B, all the way to plan Z in case something happens. Tokyo is the narrator of the story. She is who we see get recruited by the professor in the very beginning episode. And she's kind of a hot-headed narrator. She's a little bit unreliable. And she's the one to first throw off the plan of the heist in the very beginning. The first rule of the heist: do not kill anyone, do not shoot anyone. And in the first episode, she shoots the police. And the plan kind of goes awry from there, but even the professor has that all planned out. And so she's just very hot-headed, but we like her. And all the other people involved in the heist, they're all criminals. Everybody's a criminal, and everybody, you might be, oh, how would I like criminals? They're stupid, they're criminals. How would we like them? This show does a great job of making you just have a connection with these people. Like, I don't want to spoil anything, so I'm not going to say anything, But there are people that you get so involved with them, you start crying. You feel like you are involved in their life, and you just feel for them, because some of them aren't doing this heist just because, oh, they're mean and evil. They have reasons for it. And so this show doesn't always just involve the heist, it involves what's going on with their lives outside of it and what happened before that. And so the other characters, there's one in particular, Berlin. I do not like him at all. I did not like him in the beginning, but then the more and more the show goes on, the more that it kind of gives you a background into his life, and you kind of feel for him a little bit. You're a bit empathetic. And yeah, he's still a horrible guy, but just the things that he does in there, you can kind of feel for him a little bit, and I think the show does a great job of doing that. And so then there's the police, and there's one in particular police officer. Her name is Raquel. She's the negotiator, and you see kind of her thought processes. She's a great negotiator, but she gets really close to the professor without knowing it. And so he kind of intricately works his way into a relationship with her, and so you kind of see all of that unfold as the heist goes on, because now he's not only seeing Raquel, but he's got inside information from the police because of her. And so that's the main plot of the show. They have won so many awards. They won the International Emmy Awards, which is something that is from the US, and they give an award to an international show. They've won numerous Spanish awards. They've won the actresses and actors, especially the professor. His name is Alvaro Morte. He won Best Actor for 3 years in a row. And Nairobi, who her name is Alba Flores, won Best Actress in 2019. And audience responses, they had a 94 average rating for the Rotten Tomato score. The first 3 seasons have 100% rating, which I think is incredible. And then most people rated it a 4 out of 5 stars or 5 out of 5, but some of them kind of lowered it just because of how many seasons there are. There's 5 seasons total, which seems like a lot for a heist, but there's just a lot more that goes into it. And even in other countries, people loved this show. They had anti-government protests, and they wore the same costumes as in Money Heist. They had red jumpsuits on and dolly masks on that they did in the show. And so this show will always be in my mind as one of the best shows, because it pulls you into the shows if you're in the heist with everybody else. And it had an amazing rating. It won International Emmy Awards. It acts as an icon for some people in protests, and I just really love it. And even if you think the multiple seasons are excessive, there's so much more to the heist that happens when you watch it. So even if you don't end up liking it, that's okay, because then you'll at least have a costume idea for Halloween.